Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ninth session of setting up a business or freelancing with Nikki Curtis. Today, our session is about business planning, and let's welcome Nikki Curtis. Hello, Nikki.
Hello, Robbie. Good afternoon to you. Just
Good
you and
afternoon.
I today, then. No Theo.
Yes, yes. CEO has taken the day off. He's enjoying the beautiful weather outside. So a little bit of let's see the presentation. Okay, so a little bit about the team. We have CEO, who's the media coordinator, such as myself. He has a background in photography, and I have a background in music and film. And we have our business guru, Nikki Curtis, uh, which is here with us today as well, hosting these sessions for you guys. Now, I'll leave everything to Nikki from here on. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat box, and I'll make sure Nikki does answer them in due course. Thank you, Nikki.
Okay, thank you very much, Robbie. Right, the house rules, we put this up every time, so please get involved if you've got any questions. And if you feel you don't want to ask during the sessions, you're more than welcome to email me, book an online meeting with me, whatever suits you best. So please, if you have any questions, do ask in some way or another. Thank you, Robbie. Okay, so we've been through the first, 8 weeks where we talked about the legal structures of setting up a business, accounting, and all those what I call dumb jobs we don't get paid for, but we have to do. So now we're going into November, and we're going to, for the next few sessions, we're going to look at business planning, preparing a business plan, and how to use the business model canvas to do that. So today, we're just going to look at what we need to do in terms of putting a business plan together and why we need a business plan. Thank you, Robbie. So, in this, as I said, in this session, we're going to look at the content of the business plan, and then the next 3 short sessions, we're going to look at how to use the business model canvas and how you can use it to brainstorm out your business idea. We do this in a classroom situation normally, so it's slightly different, but the process is really good for business planning. Okay, so let's move on. Let me just give you some statistics. 1 in 4, that's 23% of all small and medium-sized businesses do not have a business plan. Some of them have it in their heads, but less than 47% have a plan that is written down and recorded. 25% have some verbal plan. We know what we're going to do, but we don't actually commit it to paper. And only 49% have a succession plan in place. And that means, when I say succession plan, what are you going to do with your business as you grow it? Are you growing it to sell? Is it a family business that you need to plan who's going to take it over? So that's what we mean by succession planning. And it's a proven fact that entrepreneurs with written business plans have 50% greater sales and 12% higher profits. So when do we need to prepare a business plan? Well, clearly in the startup phase, and that's often when we're trying to raise funding to start our businesses or grow our businesses on to the next stage. Businesses that are extremely well organised will have a ongoing review of their business, and they will plan periodically through the stages of that plan. So if they have a 1 or 2 or 3 year plan, they'll work through that plan and they build another plan for the next few years. Major decisions, restructuring, any large company that is restructuring, that's often about making redundancies as well. They will go through large business planning process. And those that buy another business and incorporate it into their own business, they will be business planning as well. It's unusual now that businesses have to develop a new strand, i.e. establish their business to moving online, because it's normally integrated from the beginning, but there's still businesses around, especially in the construction sector, and allied trades where they haven't got, particularly good online presence. And to do that, they would need to think about developing a business plan to get that message out. So I'm going to share this with you because some of you listening today will be actually thinking of going for seed funding from Solent University, and I'll talk about that at the end. But I've read a tremendous amount of business plans over the years, as you can imagine. I also used to teach, so I used to see a lot of business plans then. And these are some of the common mistakes that I find when I go through business plans. So these are things you need to bear in mind when you're putting yours together. Often people claim there is no competition, which of course there is. It's normally they haven't done their market research properly. So, and I often have students come up to me and say, I've got this brilliant idea, there's no competition out there. And I've probably seen that idea 2 or 3 times during that semester. So please, doing your research is very key. Claiming there's no risk involved in a new venture, there's always risk involved in starting a business, however strong you think it's going to be. I think enough of us now who've started a business in COVID times realise that there is a huge amount of risk. Sometimes focusing on the big picture and not working up the detail. So they'll have an idea, and it is an idea, but they won't think about what's the marketing strategy going to look like? Who really are their customers? How are they going to segment their customer market? So that side of it is really, really important. And this is often when the business plan is not really a plan at all. It's just a list of ideas of what you'd like to do. So it's not written on any found research or evidence. Another criteria that you really need to be very, very careful about is reliance on one large customer. So this is a very bad business practice. If you've been offered a piece of work with one large customer, you really ought to be thinking about how you would find other customers in your business planning process. So it's poorly written, spelling and grammatical errors. We have spell check now, but you would be amazed the number that business plans where people haven't bothered to use the spell checking facility. The presentation is sloppy, not designed well. And, a business plan is supposed to be easy on the eye, easy to read. So, it should contain some visuals. It should be a nice document that is a pleasure for the person to go through and understand what the business is all about. Incomplete sections are missing. So, no marketing strategy, nothing about who's running the organisation or what legal structure it has. Too vague, not communicating your ideas clearly so everyone can understand your service or product. And you might think, well, that doesn't happen. I can assure you that I can sometimes read a plan and share it with my colleagues, and we don't actually understand what it is the business is actually doing. And this is sometimes because you know your ideas so well that you forget to communicate it to the rest of us what you're actually doing. When you write a business plan, think about writing it for idiots that are reading it. So it's got to be in really, really plain English. Insufficient primary and secondary research to support your idea. So your business idea must be founded on some form of research, and we'll look at this in the business model canvas as well. So how are you going to undertake your primary and secondary research to support your idea? So Stephen Covey, I don't know if any of you ever come across Stephen Covey. He's a very famous management guru. And this is one of his sayings, and one I totally believe in and agree with. He said, begin with the end in mind. So it's really important that you think about what your business is going to look like at the beginning. So just remember this this statement. Okay, so walk your timeline. If any of you have learned anything about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that is all about programming your mind to achieve what you want to achieve. And one of the things that you can do with NLP is walk your timeline. Think about, project the way forward. Where do you want your business to be in the short, medium, and long term? Okay, short, medium, and long term is what that means to you. To a large corporation, short term might mean 5 years, but to you, short term might mean 6 months. So it's what you consider to be short, medium, and long term. And try and begin with the end in mind. Look at the long term. Look at the long term and walk your way back. Where can you see that business being if it was where you wanted it to be? And this is why it's always good to brainstorm out your ideas first and test their viability, and using something like the business model canvas or a similar process, because it is all about you coming up with great ideas and then going out and asking people, doing your primary research, is this going to work? Do people really want what I'm trying to offer them? Work the finances out early in the planning process. Be brave. Project where you want your income to be. What you want your income to be. And what we tend to do is we come up with a really nice idea, and it may be because it's been a hobby that we've enjoyed and we've managed to turn it into a business. And we start to write it down, but we don't think about the income. We do all the writing first, all the nice bit, the logo, the bits we enjoy, and we push the finance bits to the back. You really should think about your finances first, because if you're thinking about where your income's coming from and you've got several ideas for that, that will in turn inform your marketing strategy, and I would explain that a bit further on. So by doing all of this, walking your timeline, thinking about it, brainstorming it out, you've mentally set yourself a goal. And that's really the difference between having something in your head and writing it down. You have mentally set yourself a goal to move forward. So what should you include in your business plan? Well, you should include these things. Your name, strapline and logo, and we'll go through these in a bit more detail in a minute. The background about your business, your product and service, who your customers are, how you're going to promote your business, what's your management and organisation like? Is it just you or is there a team? And do a SWOT on your business. What are the opportunities? What are the threats? Obviously, it needs to include financial information, cash flow forecasts, and an action plan of what you need to do to get you to that point. So let's go into the business plan itself. So what's in a name? Have you chosen a good business name? Is it your name? Some people prefer to trade under their own name. This can be a good or a bad thing. And if I just explain this to you, it really, to a certain extent, depends on what you're actually doing, because sometimes it's you as an individual that if you're an artist or something, you clearly want to be known by your own name. But if you're building a business to grow and sell, and especially if you're a limited company, you have to consider the fact that as your business grows, you may want other people who work for you to deal with some of your clients. It's also more difficult to sell your business if you want to sell it if it's in your own name. And I've had several business colleagues one was a carpet person who had a carpet shop that grew and grew and grew, and he started it in his own name. And the other was a lady who made curtains and sofas and chairs. Both of those people were very well known in the area. They used their own names, they grew their businesses to the extent they wanted to sell them. but they struggled because it was their name. So anybody who was buying it was buying them basically. So you do need to consider that, and also the fact that there'll become a point in your business growth that you won't want to deal with every single customer that comes into your business, and most customers obviously want to deal with a business owner. So do give that some thought. So it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Might it offend international clients? So do check out the name. Does it mean something offensive in another language? We used to have a very entertaining intellectual property lawyer who came to talk to the students, and he gave us some lovely examples of names that people chosen that were really very detrimental to their business, and they would find it very difficult to take international business into certain countries. So do check it out. Check it out first. The name might sound great, but does it reflect what you do? And will your customers understand your product and service? You all have some amazing names now, great stuff, but will they understand what it is you're doing? So will a Strapline get the message across? We all know Tesco's, every little helps. So you have to think about your Strapline as well. Before you actually set up in business, do go and check do a search on the domain name, make sure it's available, and on Companies House. Even if you don't want to have a limited company at the current time, it may pay you to actually buy it and just keep it so that you've got it in the future, because you don't have to trade it immediately. You can just buy it like a domain name. Thank you. So your logo and design are very important. Does it reflect what you do? Will it support your business if you diversify? You go off and to do other products and services. Will you still be able to use the same logo that you set up with? Or will you have to rebrand? We discussed, will it offend anybody? And can it be used easily for all your marketing activities, promotional materials, digital, posters, exhibition stands, whatever else that you might want to use in terms of marketing. I mean, when you think about it, large corporations can spend millions on getting this right. The average person, the average small business might spend anything from £50 to £10,000. But it's a really, really important part of your work. Do your homework. Check out that no one else is using a similar design name in your sector, and protect your intellectual property. Now, the reason I say check it out is that we had, a few years ago, a very, very competent film student doing very well with freelance work. And he took a name, he didn't check it out. He spent a lot of time, effort and money on his brand, etc. And then afterwards, we found out that there was a company that had been established in the same sector a lot longer than he had. And he was at the risk of two things. One, him being sued because it was very similar to the name that they were using. And also the fact that they were established in the market. And if people were doing a Google search, that other company's name would come up first. So, you have to think about the implications of that as well. So check it out all out first before you put all the time and effort into doing your logo and design. It's probably the most important thing you're going to do in the early days. So when you come to write your business plan, so you've got your logo, your strapline, you've thought about the brand, what it's all going to look like, you need to start putting your business plan together. So you'll obviously have an index at the front of your business plan. I hope it, nicely designed with some images. But at the beginning, you'll have something that's called the executive summary. If you're a freelancer, you might call it something like About Me, because it's a short story of your business ideas, who your customers are, where you're trading from. It should include information about the founder and their credibility to run the business. It's either your background, expertise, that could be academic as well. And the reader should fully understand your business models through reading this section. So just bear this in mind. Professional business plan readers, especially financial institutions, they will read the executive summary first, and then they will go to the back and read the finances. And if they like those two sections, they will then delve into the whole document. I've been working with a client who's trying to raise well over £1 million at the moment. Their executive summary is quite detailed. Yours doesn't necessarily need to be. It might just be a few lines. But the reader needs to understand exactly what your business is doing and the geographical area. So if you're working internationally, say that. If you're working in the Southampton region or the Southeast, say that. Because it won't make sense necessarily to the reader. They can't best guess what it is you're doing. Okay. So the next section you have to think about is your services. Are you offering a service? Are you selling your skills and time? You need to explain your offer and your pricing structure. Are you selling products, and what are they, and why would customers want to buy them? So we'll do a bit more about that in the business model canvas. Are you selling something that you want to sell rather than what they want to buy? Market research. Just bear this in mind. We only buy if it's solving a problem for us or provides us with a pleasant experience, either physical or emotional. What would you be doing for your customers? So when we look round and we look at our iPhones, a number of us have got iPhones. Why have we got them? Well, we like them. They solve a problem for us. They solve lots and lots of problems for us. So that's probably one of the reasons we buy them. Why else do we buy things for us? I bought a new pair of Wellington boots last week. It was solving a problem for me. My feet were getting wet when I went out to walk the dogs in the morning. So that's why I bought them. You might be buying something because it's giving you a pleasant experience. That might be the fact that us ladies like to go and spend too much money on clothes sometimes. It gives us a physical and emotional experience. It could be that it's a piece of music, or it could be a book. But you just need to think why your customers are buying from you and what problems are you solving for them. And I will show you how to do that in the business model canvas. Conducting your market research, primary and secondary, how are you going to do that? Are you going to do Survey Monkey? Are you going to get onto some of the data that's available through the e-library? So there's loads of ways that you can do your primary and secondary market research. Thank you.
Sorry, Nikki. Regarding what you were talking about earlier with the names for companies,
yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
What about if your name and initials are SMS? Can you use it because it's my name? Can I have rights issues?
Well, it is your name, so you should there shouldn't be any reason why anybody could contest you using it. There is a company. Now I might have got this wrong, so don't quote me on it. I want to say it's John Lewis something or other. Can't remember. It's a kitchen company or something, but the person's name is John Lewis. But you have to be able to differentiate yourself from your competitors. So if you're using those initials, you've got to be clear that it's you and why you've got the right to use it, basically. But is that telling people what you do? So you really have to think, will that mean anything to anybody? Probably not, just to you. Okay. Your market. So who are your customers? Are you offering them a product or service to a range of customers? So, i.e. define your and segment your market. So the easiest way to describe this is very simplistically. If you think about the university, we are selling you education, but we're not all the same shape, size, age. we've all got different reasons why we've come to the university for education. If I go to the university, I'm a mature student. You've got young people coming in from around the UK, but we've got international students. And each customer segment is slightly different. The offer is slightly different. So that's one of the things, again, we'll talk about in the business model canvas, defining your customers. So marketing and promotions. How do you intend to market your business to your potential customers? It's likely to be a mix of online and offline activities. So you will possibly have to develop a marketing strategy that will have an offline and an online. And developing a sustainable digital marketing strategy is extremely time consuming. So you will need to give this a considerable amount of thought, what is feasible for you to do. So you'll need to include this in your business plan and identify the methods that you're going to use to do this. So if you're using social media, what social media are you going to use and why have you chosen those particular applications? So management organisation, some people get stuck on this. It may be a very simple structure. It could be yourself and perhaps some other subcontractors working for you. So you may say that it's your business, you're working. Just be careful that you don't call yourself a director if you haven't got a limited company. You're only the director if you have got a limited company. I know we used the word director in terms of filming, but in terms of legal structures, you're either a sole trader, a limited company. You would be a director if you had a limited company. Neither of those stop you having subcontractors working for you, or you may want to call them associates. You may want to list their skills. You don't need to list their names and the skills that they're going to enhance your business with. Where will you operate from? You're operating from a home office, premises, location. All that is important. So whoever's reading your plan gets a really good idea of the structure of your organisation. Are you using an accountant or are you doing the accounts yourself? So that's what the management and organisation is about. And then you need to do a SWOT on yourself or your business. So if it's you on your own, then it's probably best, but use a business perspective to do a SWOT. Obviously, if it's a limited company, you're working with others, you know, your SWOT will be on the business in its entirety. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I'm sure that most of you have done these before. There is in here you can probably see, or you'll certainly be able to if you watch it again, or I can send it to you. The list of things that you need to think about. I think the threats are the one thing that you need to focus on, and COVID has been a really, really good example of a threat that just came out of nowhere, and none of us could be prepared for it. So let's talk about the money. I did suggest that you start looking at this first. So this is a very simple cash flow forecast. If you like a copy of it or a link to it, then just email me. If you were going for a small business startup loan from the government, this is the sort of thing that you would need to fill in. It's really quite simplistic. Income is above the line and expenses are below the line. And you would have a line for each income stream that you may have. So it's just got sales there in total, but I would suggest that you have a line for each different income stream. And I can talk that through with you in a moment in the next slide. So it's all about working out your sales, really. And this is why I said to you, begin with the end in mind. Okay. So how much do you want your business to invoice or sell in the first 12 months? Is this a realistic amount? So what you want to do is project, get your vision out, your timeline. This is the amount of money that I want to take in my business within the next 12 months. This is the turnover, not the profit. Okay. And then you need to divide this amount into months, remembering you will have seasonal times when your business slows down or gets busier. And most of you will know that when that is likely to be, because obviously you understand the business sector that you're going to work in. Plot out the months of the year. On that graph that I showed you, it had just got month 1, 2, 3, 4. You would plot it out from whenever you're starting your business. So November the 1st, 2020, or whatever, and then do it for 12 months. Think about how you'll manage these times if you're working on your own. Busy times, slow times. Can you think of ways to earn extra money from your business in the slow months? And things like that might be passive income. Have you got things that you're making? Have you got stock photography you can sell? It's really looking at what you can do for extra sales in the down months. So by understanding the figures, it will help you understand how much marketing you will need to do to achieve your target. So when you plotted that all out, and I always think wedding videography is such a good example, because if you plot out the number of Fridays and Saturdays in the year in your calendar, and you think about the months that generally people don't get married and have, expensive weddings, then you will be able to work out roughly how much each one of those weddings you're going to be charging for, and you can plot it across your cash flow forecast. You will see that you're going to have a lot of downtime, so it give you the time to think, well, what else could I do? Could I go out and do product photography for companies? Is there something else that I could do with my skills using my photography for the down months? And when you plotted this out, it will give you the opportunity to think about your marketing strategy. Because if you've got to find corporate work, then you're going to do some marketing around it. If you're going to find something else to do in the downtime, you'll think about what marketing you need to do to achieve that. Whereas if you write your plan first, and then you get to your figures at the end, you'll probably have to go back to your marketing strategy and rewrite it. It's the right way to do things. Begin with the end in mind, plot out your finances, see where the gaps are, think about your skills, or if it's products that you're selling, what you might be able to sell to achieve the income that you desire. And then that will help inform the marketing that you need to do to achieve it. Thank you. So an action plan. We all need an action plan at our business plan. What do we need to do, by when, and what do we need to do it with? Do we need people to help us? Is there a cost involved? So it might be something like, I've got to develop my marketing, I've got to develop my website, I've got to get somebody to do my logo, I need to find premises. So you need an action plan there at the end of your business plan. Okay, it's over to you.
Yes, and here, guys, you can scan the QR code, which will send you to a site where you can complete a survey, and you can let us know what else you would like to learn. We would deeply appreciate that, and we would be more able to tailor these sessions for you. Give me 1 second. I'll go on to the next slide.
Okay. So those of you that are thinking of applying for Solent University seed funding, let me just briefly go over what you need to do and the best way forward with this. So you need to prepare a business plan with a cash flow forecast. Okay. Now there is a template on the website that you can use. You don't have to use that template, and you don't have to use all of it. It's just a guide with prompts, right? So if you're a freelancer on your own, you're not going to use a considerable amount of that plan. You may use some of the headings because most of the headings are relevant, but you certainly won't necessarily complete it to the huge amount of detail that's there. You then need to do a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation about your business. And there's guidelines on the website there for what to include. and then you will need to film yourself making your presentation. So obviously previously we had live panels where you would come in on a set day and present your business plan in front of a panel. We can't do that at the moment. So we're asking you to film yourself making your presentation. You can do that on your phone. If you need help with that, Robbie will be more than happy to give you instructions on how to do that. We are not looking for excellent, videography skills. This is not what this is about. However, if you are a film student, we would expect to see, a piece of your show reel in there. If you are creative, you are going to have to demonstrate your creativity in your presentations. So just bear that in mind. Then you need to upload all of the above to the link in the portal, or you can send it to me. And then the panel will review your application, and it is assessed. It is assessed on your business idea and its potential viability. And it's also assessed on you and how we judge your ability to take this idea forward. It'll be assessed by several people independently. And then we will invite you just for a quick online interview to discuss your business idea and any questions that have arisen from the assessment. I have put a date in for this month. It's still to be agreed. I think it's Tuesday the 15th. I've put in for anybody who's already put an application in. So we will be looking at them on the first Monday of the month, I think is the date. It says on the website they need to be in. That is the link below. I do suggest that you book an online appointment with me, that you send your business plan through before you upload it. You're welcome to send it in stages. You're welcome to come and have help with doing it. Don't struggle with it on your own. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you do it, okay? It doesn't need to be complicated. I've seen excellent business plans that have been just a few pages long. It's a case of getting your idea across and demonstrating its viability based on the fact that you have done some market research and that you've thought about your figures. So your cash flow, it needs to be more than a hobby. So please don't put a business plan in that's got a turnover of £5,000. We would be looking for £15,000 upwards, in your first 12 months. So just bear that in mind as well. Okay, is there any questions on that I can answer now about the start?
We don't have any questions at the moment in the chat box apart from the one you've already answered. Here, guys, you can scan this QR code, which will send you to obviously our webpage where you can ask your questions. In the meantime, Nikki, I wanted to mention that one of the students mentioned that he's watching with a group of people and they want to start a film production company. Their name is quite long and doesn't say what they're doing.
Right.
They don't know if adding film company at the end would be great. I think that's a matter of aesthetics, really, or preference. But it made me wonder. Will be a good question. Would adding film company to your name or any other generic name like that, would it raise any problems when you register? Because obviously more than one company would have the same.
Well, I think if you want to use your name and put film company after, you'd have to see whether you can do it or not. Go into company's house and see if you can do it. Can you put that back on the screen again, or have we lost it, Robbie? Who wants to start a film production company? Her name is quite long. Okay, so why couldn't you have a strapline that says exactly what you do? So if you wanted the name, you didn't want to put film company, you could have the name and say Strapline producing films for whatever it is that you want to do. It needs a bit of thought, really. If you want to come on and have a Teams chat as a group, then just drop me a line. But it's really important you think it through. What you're actually going to say, because it needs to be catchy to a certain extent. If you want to use it for marketing materials and to go on your website and everything else, have a look at what other people have done. What do you like about what other people have done, and what do you dislike about what other people have done. That's what I always say to you. When you're, developing your website and your branding, go and look for good practice examples and say, well, I like that. We could do something sort of similar, but make it our own.
I guess maybe the reason they would want to put film company at the end, maybe the name of the company itself is something very personal to them, which doesn't describe the company. Maybe it's, I don't know, Ralphie, and they have Ralphie Film Company describing it.
Yeah.
Maybe
It
that would make more sense. Or
Yes, it may be personal to them, but it won't mean anything to anybody else. You just need to bear that in mind. This is all about, you have to think about market research. So go out and ask your friends what they think. There's nothing better than asking people that you know around you. Get out on your social media and ask them what they think. Um, I've been as guilty of it as anybody else. When I was first in business, I made furniture and I would always go and buy a roll of material that I liked and I thought was brilliant and I thought would sell. Big mistake. It was lovely, but it wasn't suitable for my client group. I was in the depths of North Norfolk working with old ladies. This was suitable for central London, Knightsbridge. Yeah. So, same principle, go and ask others, do some market research, see what other people think.
okay, guys, it seems like no one has any questions. Again, here's our contact details. If you'd like to drop us an email, if you have any questions or if anything seemed unclear. Uh, okay, and we have Ocean, I believe, who said she will send you an email.
Yes, please do, and we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat. So what I'm going to do, if you just bring up the last slide before everybody goes. So what I'm going to do on Wednesday is I'm going to show you how to use the business model canvas for planning purposes. It's a really, really useful tool. I've used it with many businesses, students. I've used it in places like Azerbaijan. It's been used in China. It's a great tool for brainstorming out your business idea to get these things that you're not quite sure about out of your head and onto some post-its. Unfortunately, we can't do it in a live environment, which is a real shame, but I can show you the principles, and that's what I'll be doing over. We'll have a reasonable session on Wednesday, and then the next two will be very short sessions so that I can just explain the rest of it to you. And then you can see we're going to go into marketing.
And
So
again,
thank you very much, everybody, for coming today.
thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Nikki, for the session. And again, guys, contact us if you have any questions. Don't be shy. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.